Peace, peace. You are rocking with your host, Sot on High Frequency Radio Network. You are now tuned into the Foundation. I got a special episode this evening, off the cuff. We got a special guest, super special guest, a major heavy hitter with regards to, understanding of consumer protection laws and Fair Debt Collection Practices, Act. He's the founder of T.H.O.R Radio Network, and his name is Brother Sharif. I'm going to bring him in right away. I know we usually go to, current events, but I'm just going to say, definitely want to say all praises due and thanks to the Creator and the ancestors. Definitely want to say peace to Big Brother Yusuf. I want to say peace to all the trustees. Peace to anybody who, is checking this out live right now. I want to say peace to anybody who checks the show out in the archives. Definitely want to say peace to, anyone checking us out, over the internet. And, definitely want to say peace to anyone I've dealt with in the private. Peace to, anyone who pays attention. It's highly appreciated. And, yeah, exactly. So, with that being said, I'm going to bring in, the guest for this evening, Brother Sharif. Brother Sharif, are you there? Peace.
What's going on, brother? Yes, sir, man. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you very well. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for being here. I want to definitely want to thank you for being here. Appreciate you. It was pretty last minute. Definitely want to say I appreciate that because I know how that can be. But good to deal with you again. Good to talk to you again, man. How you been? How's everything going?
Oh, I'm great, man. I'm consummating and I'm doing my thing. Appreciate the opportunity. We're always ready at the Consummating Empire. The youth need to reach out. And when we hear bricks are being laid and you trying to lay a foundation, we want to get in there and make sure that the concrete is good and that the framing is well. So you youngers in here and y'all need some spur of the moment and I'm available and you're reaching out because you're trying to navigate this legal and lawful system, I'm always do what I can to be supportive. So,
right, appreciate
first,
you.
I gotta salute the creator of this empire over here, brother Yusuf. I rented a room here when I was in college and stayed here. You understand? And went on and built my own empire. So big ups to to Yusuf and the High Frequency Radio family.
Perfect, man. Appreciate it. So, why don't you go ahead and tell the audience a little bit about yourself. We know who you are. Most of us know who you are, but we always have some new listeners every show. So, why don't you go ahead and tell the audience about yourself. What do you do? And, we can just take it from there, I guess.
Sure. I'm the founder of the House of Restoration Ministry known as T.H.O.R Radio Network. We're here on Blog Talk Radio. It's the Consummated Empire and the Consumer Intelligence Bureau, all divisions of T.H.O.R Radio Network. I established that empire almost 3.5 years ago. I've been in the law field for a long time in different various law enforcement capacities. I did bail bonding and bounty hunting for the most part of my years or period of time. And so I've always been in the legal field. I've been a paralegal, completed several paralegal courses, only to learn what Nelson Mandela learned, is to learn what they learned in the system so I can create the proper anecdote to be able to destroy the system and those elements and parts of it that destroy Earth, people of all nationalities, of all creeds, but especially with a targeted interest in those who are affected most, and that's that Dark Lives Matter, those dark ones, because they are the coal that'll get the barbecue started once they catch on and able to activate what is in them. And for some, a lot of detoxing has to be done. But we've been there about 3.5 years. You know, I grew the community from probably like Yusef did when I left here at High Frequency. I went over there and established myself and just built the team around following the directions of my ancestors. And I got a shout out to them: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, the Sun, and the Moon. So I follow their instructions, their directions. I don't really have a template. I've learned, especially in the last couple of years, that they will lead and guide me and give me the proper strength and intelligence to be able to disseminate, and that's what we've been doing, and it's been working out great.
Yeah, man, I've always appreciated your work. You definitely, are able to break from what I've heard you speak on, with regards to the Fair Credit Reporting Act and the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. You've been able to break it down in a really layman's type, term. It's really easy to understand, and you understand it in a deep manner, And I've always appreciated your work, like I said. So, appreciate you being here. Didn't really have a format, I guess. So, if you got something to go in on, I got the both of them, the Fair Credit Reporting Act and the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, right? Sitting in front of me.
Yeah,
so
sure. We don't need formats. We just do.
Could you?
Don't need no format.
Yeah.
I'll heat up. That coal always burning, so I could always get it pumping.
Exactly. So, could you please, maybe just go in a little bit, just to start off as, what these 15 USC 1692 and 15 USC 1681, what they really encompass, what they mean, and maybe some of the things that we're overlooking with regards to not understanding these and how they can benefit us as consumers.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll do that. I'll touch on all of them. First, I cannot forget my consummarianesses and my ambassadors and those who are from Consummarian Empire probably listen in. My support staff, I couldn't do anything without them. That's my team. That's Team Consummarian. So the breakdown of what they call the federal consumer laws or federal consumer protection laws are basically an extension of constitutional law in the form of international law or public international law, right? What the federal consumer laws does is they codify certain qualities and foundational protections that derive from the highest source on this planet, and that's the preamble to the Constitution. What most don't comprehend about the Constitution is they often make reference to the subsequent amendments and sections of the Constitution. But you have to comprehend what a preamble is. And a preamble is not a part of the Constitution. It is what it say it is, and that's a preamble to it. So it's important to comprehend preamble, because when I go into the consumer laws, every law has a preamble. A preamble is basically like a preliminary statement. You can call it an introduction or a preface, or it's a lead-in, but it's separate from the Constitution. The reason why is that it's a separate legal entity. So that means when all else fails under it, you can always sit at the top of the pyramid within the preamble. The preamble has the most power, those 52 words, understanding the 5 and the 2 and the 10. When you multiply with the addition is the 7, those being significant numeric numbers. So when you comprehend the preamble, is what I teach my empire. When you study that preamble, you'll see how the power just descends into Article 3, then descends into your individual sovereign states, and then they really just extend into the consumer financial laws. They've been hidden for a long time. They've been not respected for a long time. And that's for many planetary reasons. One, the FDCPA, the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, was created in 1977. Happened to be the same year that the planet Uranus was discovered. Planet Uranus has the biggest diamonds and is by far probably one of the richest planets that has come across us. So it was at that same year. Recently, a year later, we discovered the bankruptcy laws were created. So what happened was, if you want to get into the biblical side of it, I don't know if you remember where Moses went to the mountain and he came and he brought a new deal, okay? And he says, I'm going to make a new covenant with you, right? And he said, it's not going to be like the one that your forefathers had. Well, in our time, that new covenant was the consumer protection laws that started around 1960s with the Fair Credit Reporting Act, and then the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, and then the Truth in Lending Act, and then basically your RESPA, okay, Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act. That was a new deal. Prior to that, you didn't have it, because what happened was they turned, a lot of people talk about 1933, well, they turned most of the credit creating ability over to you. Okay?
People, yeah.
Most people just don't comprehend it. So that's what the laws, they turned it over to you because you're the only one that can create credit. You're the only one that can create something of substance. The court game is just nonsense. You're the creator. Okay? When they say they swear an oath, you know, I see a lot of people say, get a copy of their oath. We don't teach that. I mean, we know what the copy of the oath is. He who controls the money controls the law. My empire, I control the law because I have the money. And there's nothing else that creates money, but a natural person. Now, most people think a natural person is, or consumer is, it's not that narrow. It's very broad. Because natural, when you look at the definition of natural is something produced. It's something to be born. So when people look at the 14th Amendment, they say born, right, in the United States. Well, I can create an instrument, and it would be a 14th Amendment citizen because I created it. It was born in the United States because I manifested it in the United States. I executed it in the United States. So it has the protections of citizenship, and it has the protections of nature because it was created by something higher than nature. I'm not nature. I have nature in me. I create nature because nature can be produced. I put a seed in the ground, it's going to produce something. Was I the ground that cultivated it? No, but I planted the seed. So that means something is born and produced from that seed. My mind creates thoughts. They create ideas. It creates value. So when I execute any document, it becomes natural, but I created it. And from that, it produced money, substance, value. So when we understand what nature is or natural is, it's just according to the stated course of things. It's something that, according to life, what I give to a document is life. So a lot of people think it's dead. Well, how is it dead if it's connected to me? Because anytime I speak about it or anytime I look at it, it has my DNA. My documents, my instruments become a descendant of mine. So they're protected under nature, and a consumer means a natural person. But what people don't comprehend is that I can create a natural person. I can hire you to work for my company. You're protected under my company because you're a natural person. Regardless of what you think, if I create a job for you, you become a natural person because I created the job, you accepted it. You're a creation of me because now you're working for my creation. So I naturally created that position, and you took it. You come under my protection as a natural person. So a consumer is broad in that sense because I'm not the consumer. I create consumers. I'm the creator. So when we get into the Godism, I'm the creator because I can create something that has substance, that has value, and that can hire people, and that can create money. So that means everything I created, I'm the farmer, right? I planted the seed. So that means I reap the rewards. So that's the important part of understanding what a consumer is, because it's multidimensional. It's far more broad than you saying I'm a consumer, because I'm not a consumer. I create consumers. We're the biggest.
Right.
The consumers are really those who consume what I create. It's not me. If I create a job, people eat, then I'm not the consumer. I'm not eating. I'm creating the food, which means I'm the feeder for the feds. So people talk about fed all the time. I don't give a damn about feds. Who's feeding the feds? It's the feeder that counts. That's producing something for them to be fed. You understand? That's the science behind knowing who you are. Because con means to know. Some means value. ER means man. Okay? So when you break it down like that, I like to give a better understanding so people are just not doing word ping pong and just saying I'm a consumer, because they would look at you and be like, you're a consumer? No, they're a consumer. Let me tell you why. Let me break it down and tell you what consumer means, and then I'll take a break and let's see if you have any questions. A consumer is one who consumes. All right, consume meaning you eat, you drink, you using an instrumentality. A consumer means somebody who spends, who wastes, or destroys that which consumes. So do I consume what I create? Nah, I benefit from it. It doesn't create anything for me to eat, because I'm going to eat because I can just create opportunity, or I have enough wealth or enough substance to make sure that I eat. I create to expand my wealth, to expand my posterity, to provide more for my family. You understand? So am I a consumer? No, I create consumers. That's why they need your signature on anything. That's why they need you to sign something, right? Because you're creating value. But then they use it. And some people are of the misconception that they own something. Well, how can you own something that I created? Oh, the government owns the name. Ain't no government. We're the government. My empire knows who the government is. That's not government. Those are agencies. Those are offices. They are not government. That's been a myth. I'm government. Anytime you've been somewhere, what do they ask for? Can I have your government ID? Well, who's the government?
Right.
Your government ID. Right? And you present them with an ID with your name on it. Then who's the government? Your name is the only one on it. Somebody presented it to them. If they ask you for your government ID, you can give them your MasterCard and be like, that's my government ID. Why? That's my name on the card. MasterCard is just who issues the card, and I do free marketing for them, but you're looking for the name, the surname. So who is the government? Well, if I can put that card in there, I'm the government, because I obviously have something in that account that I can get out. So I'm the government. Is Bank of America the government? No. They're just an office that holds my money or makes sure that my card works. So they are what? They're a natural person. Why? I created a position for them to do that. If not, I would just go somewhere else or keep my money underneath the mattress, right? So I create natural persons. They're employees of mine. They're possessions of mine. You understand? So when you understand possessions, you'll know that, is that signature mine? That's my possession. Yeah, state of California, that's my possession. The driver's license, that's my possession. You know, I teach the reality of what most don't comprehend, you know, and that's important that I go to the bottom and, like you said, bring it into a comprehensible form so people can get around the fanciness about it. And I reduce my intelligence sometimes, not in a disrespectful way, so that the planets can use me to bring it to those on a first grade level and those on a 12th. It's a fluctuation of intelligence. So I have to reduce and fluctuate with the planets and use all of them in order to be able to get to intellectual ones like you that probably have some advanced knowledge. You got to you have to reduce yourself to a point where now you got to blank your mind so you can get the consummarianism in there and then distribute it amongst the knowledge that you know, and what doesn't match, you'll have to delete.
Right. Yeah. True indeed. True indeed. Okay. So, with regards to the term of consumer as it relates to 15 U.S.C. 1692, and I would say maybe because I see that, you know, and then the difference is maybe between interstate commerce and I think on one of your shows I heard you say intrastate commerce. I thought that was a jewel. And how that relates to debt collectors and, you know, the collection practices that they have to adhere to. That, you know, most of us aren't really familiar with or aware of.
Okay. Well, before we get down into there, I have to always give you the preamble, because in order for what I teach my empire is we go through the preamble, because you start off any religion, they start off with a prayer. You start off with some sort of salutation to who you're worshiping. So when we open up our laws, we look at the preamble. The preamble is the congressional findings and declaration of purpose. When you start comprehending more why these laws were introduced or why they were formulated, then you'll start to understand more of the power in them. Because if you don't, you miss it. So when we have congressional findings and declaration of purpose, that means that the Congress had found, because it's the same finding when they say a finding of guilt. So the Congress had already issued a judgment. They had done discovery, because that's what finding means, in law, to return a bill, a verdict of a jury, because that's what they do. They investigate, and they did a finding, and they took a oath, which was a declaration, just like you see in the Constitution, a declaration. They didn't do an affidavit. They took a declaration and said, this is our congressional declaration, congressional findings and declaration. So they had a trial, and they came up with a declaration of purpose. Now, purpose, you know, means, for many people that don't know, purpose means pro se, because pro means before, right, and to set or to place. So it means before and after, or it means present and future, because that's what pro se is able to do. Really, they cut the word in half to separate the power of it, because what you have to comprehend is that pro se really means prosecutor. Okay, because you're always prosecuting, because somebody is always using something of yours. So you're not pro se. I can get into the directional meaning of pro se, which merely means north and south, which merely means you're going to the future and back. That's how you can throw debts 5 years down the road and bring it back, because you're a time traveler. Everything they need on this planet is time. You're a time traveler. Well, you want this car for 5 years? Bet. You throw it out 5 years, they got time, right? Then you can bring it back. Now, I think I'm going to cancel it. Nah, I think I'm going to call it due right now, right? So you're able to go in the future, bring it right back. That is your commodity. Forget all the fancy stuff. Your commodity is that you got time and you control time because you're the only thing living. You can give life to something dead, but they can never get life to something dead. That's what a charge-off is. No more life. It's done. You understand? You can't bring it back to life. Now, they argue with you or send you a letter, and then what you do is you bring it back to life because you let them argue about something that's dead. It's a charge-off. If I don't want to put the charge back on, the sun is gone. You understand? So back to the purpose. Purpose means intent. And intention is probably one of the most important words that you want to comprehend because intent is all about design. Why did I design this law? I designed this law because I designed the law for a purpose and intent. That means a beginning and an end. You understand? The beginning and the end is I threw that loan out 5 years. I can see that it's going to end in 5 years, but everybody that was involved in it may not be here 5 years. But I'm going to see it through 5 years, or I can say, nah, I want to bring that back from the future, and I want to take care of that now. You understand? So the Declaration of Purpose was the Congress saying that there was abusive practices. There was abundance of evidence of use of abusive, deceptive, unfair debt collection practices by many debt collectors. And they went into inadequacy of laws. This is why they had to formulate the FDCPA, inadequacy of laws, state laws. And what people got to comprehend in state laws, that you're a state. So your laws, if you're creating the money and you're creating the value, the mistake that we all make is that we allow attorneys to write the law, perform the legislative portion of it, right? Then they carry it out to us, the executive branch, right? And we really perform the judicial branch and make the decision and interpret by signing, right? We should be writing because we are all three branches of the government. We have no separation. They have separation. We don't have separation. You go and do a transaction, you doing all three branches of law, right? You the legislative branch, you signing something, you writing something, right? And then you're carrying it out, which means you went down there to buy a car. That's the executive, right? And then you're doing the judicial branch, which means what? You're making the determination or you're making the interpretation and saying, I want that. You did all three. They're going to hold you accountable for all three. But when you go and you argue with them in a civil fashion, they split it up. They say, oh, you got to go down to the lower court, then you got to go down to the appellate court, then you got to go down to the Supreme Court, then you got – that makes no sense. So comprehending what the preamble was about, it was about that there was abusive debt collection. They had to formulate these laws to protect who? Well, if they're protecting you and not the banks, then that means you must have more value than the banks. If they're protecting you and not anyone else, then that means you must have the value. You can never be poor. You can never not have sufficient value or the ability to create credit, right? We know that. They'll pick a bum up off the street and give him a ticket. They'll go down in the hood and write you a $300 ticket. You must have something of value you haven't realized. So getting through the preamble, when you go down into and addressing your question, you jump to the debt collector. A debt collector is many things. Okay, so I'll go to the street with it. A debt collector is a hooker with a pen. Okay, the hooker gonna go out there, she gonna make the money. Okay, or you a lieutenant on the block. I come from the street. You a lieutenant, you hustling, right? You go pick up the money, right? From the dealers, from the dudes on the street, from the dudes on foot, right? So they are debt collectors. They're bringing that money to me, right? So they're a debt collector. Because a debt collector means any person who uses any instrumentality of interstate commerce. Okay? I'll stop there with interstate commerce because, you have to comprehend what that interstate commerce is. For you, because you're involved mostly in foreign trade and commerce, it's different. See, interstate is carried on between two states. See? So it's like an expressway, right? And it's covering all the contingent states. So you're doing business in reality with the District of Columbia. They're not a state. Okay? They're a non-city state. They're a state of mind because they're involved in the influence of the system, but they're not a state. The District of Columbia is not a state. They're not recognized as a state. But that's your police, that's your county, that's your city. That's what you see going on now with sanctuary cities. They're saying they're being exposed now for not being a state. States of or not states. States of are just territories. Okay? There is not any such thing as a state of. There is a California, but California is just a territory. For us, we're a foreign state. So we're foreign to all of it. Nothing is more powerful than us. It doesn't matter where we are because we have interstate, international, universal jurisdiction. Why? Because I create an instrument and that thing winds up where? Somewhere in New York, somewhere over in Russia. Why? I'm international. So what people got to comprehend is that, I deal with driver's license lately. My ancestors just broke it down. Like, they can't issue you a license. I issued them a license. So, how can they issue me something that's not even in my state? What can they issue me of value? I license them. That's why they can go from California to New York. That's why they want you to carry the driver's license with you at all times, because you're dealing with a limited jurisdiction, imprisoned population. The District of Columbia are imprisoned. They are in institutions. They are in jail. They have house arrest. That's why they can go from home to the court. That's why they always coming from behind the court into the courtroom. They don't belong out in the street. Police belong along with them because they work in the Department of Corrections. Where is that? That's behind a fence. Well, that's where you belong because they're not a state. You understand? There's only one state. I'll show it to you. FDCPA 1692, A8. A state means any state, territory, possession of the United States, the District of Columbia, the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, or any political subdivision of any of the foregoing. Right? All of those are my jurisdiction. I have control over all of that. Okay? So you would say, well, a state means a state. It says state means any state. It didn't say a state of the United States. Because there's no such thing as a state of. The state of the United States is the District of Columbia, which is not a state. Right? They're there for you to beat them up, to be honest with you, and make money off of them when you know who you are. Right? So these are all my jurisdiction, who I control. So you see in there I have who? The Commonwealth of Puerto Rico. So does the IRS have jurisdiction over me? No, I have jurisdiction over the IRS. It's right in there. So what doesn't cover my jurisdiction in AA? Not a damn thing. You understand? So I have control over all of them. And that's why I teach what I teach, because I know. You understand? Now, you notice they say a state means any state, territory, or possession of the United States, and then it commas, you pause. And then it says, the District of Columbia, not District of Columbia, the District of Columbia. Now, most people will read and they'll do what you do in traffic situations. You'll run a stop sign. You won't stop at that comma and know that now they're describing somebody else. So a state means any state, territory, possession of the United States, right? Comma, pause. The District of Columbia, the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico. Right? So when you look at it strategically, it's telling you the people in the front part of the sentence is important. They have dominion over the latter part of the paragraph. That's what the comma is for. Right? So when you get back to debt collectors are any person who uses any instrumentality of interstate commerce. That means commerce between the states. Article 1, Section 8 will tell you that the Congress regulates, right, commerce beats amongst a foreign state. Amongst. Okay? Amongst don't mean in, because Congress don't have jurisdiction where you are. Amongst mean being with other things. Well, what's with things? The District of Columbia is around, but they only around when I contract them, but they'll try to jump in on everything, and if you don't know they're not supposed to be there, you'll let them in, which is what most people do. You can't be a Fed if somebody else is feeding you. You understand? You can have a copy machine, you got no goddamn paper, you're not printing nothing. So the Feds got to be fed. Well, who they feeding on? They feeding on you because you don't know who you are. Okay? So amongst means surrounded by. We always surrounded by people that want to act like they God, they government, police, sheriff. You're surrounded by people that need you, that need you to feed them. You're a feeder, right? They're the fed. That means they eat off of you. That means they're a natural person because you created a meal that they're eating. You're God, not them. So when we get into debt collector, it means any person who uses any instrumentality of interstate commerce or the mails. What I teach and tell people is that you're dealing with immigrants. You're dealing with undocumented workers. That's what you see being revealed today. So you're dealing with people that don't have their green cards. You're dealing with people that's in the country illegal. That's why they're talking about sanctuary cities. There is no sanctuary for an immigrant. Police are immigrant. Sheriffs are immigrant. Right? If you work for them, I don't give a damn if you're American. If you work for them, you've reduced yourself to working for an immigrant. They don't have any right to be except where they're supposed to be. And where they're supposed to be is really in a campus in a contained area. So, that's why you see college campuses, private police, and they're kind of allowed to do what they want to do because they're fenced in, and that's where they're supposed to be. Police is not fenced in. They're supposed to have they're limited. Anything that's limited, is imprisoned. You played as a kid, your mama told you don't go past the corner. You kind of in the cage. You in prison, don't go past that corner. You understand? So if police say, I can't go past this line, you're imprisoned. You're limited jurisdiction, limited area. I'm unlimited. That's why they want you to carry that license you granted them and have that card ready so they can swipe it by demanding it from you and saying you gave it to them like you went and swiped to get some groceries. Can I get your driver's license, please? No, you can't get my driver's license. Do you have a driver's license? No. Then that means you need something from me. Your name is not on that driver's license, Mr. Police, Mr. Sheriff. It has my name on it in New York. What do you have to do with New York if you're the state of New York? You understand? This ain't about jurisdictions. The jurisdiction means the authority, the legal authority to speak. If you're not a state, you don't have the legal authority to speak. And if I'm the state, as I just described, then I always have jurisdiction. So when people talk about jurisdiction, I'm like, you don't know what jurisdiction is. Because you don't know what it means. That means the legal authority to speak. You know what authority is? Let me show you what authority is. 1692C, FTC. Without the prior written consent of the consumer given directly to the debt collector or the express permission of a court of competent jurisdiction. Now, you know that permission means authority. You know authority means I'm the author. You know that R is a symbol of gold. AU, augment, author, right? If you have to get my permission to do something, who's in control? Okay? So as simple as that. You don't have my authority. I have to grant you permission. I have to grant you the right to talk to me. That means you can never have jurisdiction if I have to grant you the right. And that also means, that if I go somewhere in this so-called a court, why do they call it a hearing? Who's listening and who's talking? If it's a conversation, that means two people are talking. So most people go to court and they listen. It's supposed to be a hearing. A hearing means what it means, a hearing. That means somebody's talking and somebody's not. That don't mean a conversation. They say, come out here, let's have a meeting. I said, we're going to have a hearing. So you don't go in there and be government and be God. So They start talking, and you start talking back. Excuse me, I thought this was a hearing. Now, who's supposed to be listening and who's supposed to be talking? Because I know what hearing means. Okay? So most of the time you see jurisdiction, they're always talking about, well, we're going to do a hearing. Okay, well, who the hell going to be talking? Because a hearing is somebody sitting in school and you're listening. All right? Hearing means perceiving by the ear and sound. Right? It's simple. So a hearing is a judicial trial. Right? So what did I just say? Without the prior consent of the consumer given directly to the debt collector or the express permission of a court of competent jurisdiction, if I'm going to a hearing and I'm the only one that can talk, who's competent? I just took care of your jurisdiction. That means you can't talk. Jurisdiction is for one person. That's for the person that's listening. If you, the judge, the so-called judge, y'all say, I'm setting a hearing, be like, good, I'll be there to talk to you on Monday. I don't want to hear a word, though, because it's a judicial trial. I'm asking the question. So what did you call me for? Did you have permission? Why did you what do you have in your hand? Does that have my name on it? Is that my property? Is that a natural creation of me? Did I fill out an application? Did I apply my law to it? Because application means to apply something. Everything starts with an application. What are you applying? If they issued you something, they would fill out the application, because I'm sure they would want to have the original document be something that they had control of. But most people forget about the damn application. You focus on the little plastic card that you got. But what got the card and who signed on there? You ever seen an application with two signatures on it, SOL?
No.
Huh?
Not unless it's
So that means you're the only one signing the application, right?
Not unless it's a cold borrowing situation. But
okay, say co. Let's just say co, not borrow. So let's say you had a co-signer, right? So that's two people that sign. Right. But then what comes after that? Then there's agreement after that. Or there's something that they call a contract. But what is the real contract? The contract is the application. Because that's what got whatever you were seeking to obtain. Y'all forget about that.
Right.
Agreement. The preamble to the Constitution is a contract. Everything else is an amendment. They amend amendments because those are agreements. Every contract does not have a legally enforced agreement. I can take a contract and change it because the contract, for purposes of your name, is the foundation of everything. So if you take a contract, you got a signature on the bottom, a name on the top, and an amount. That's the contract. Who signed it, who gave it value, the amount, and the name. Everything else in it is an agreement. Or, for most of them, a promise. I can break a damn promise. That's why they can modify a mortgage. They didn't change the contract, did they? No, they just said we modified the mortgage. So why the hell can't you modify something? If they can modify it, keep it in place, what are they telling you? There exists in every document a contract and agreements. The agreements is usually by the party that don't bring anything to the table. That's why it's 40, 50 pages. You can say, F that agreement, I'm going to enforce the contract, because the contract was originated with a part of the instrument that you're not wanting to talk about, and that's the application that you didn't damn sign, that your name is not even on. That's the foundation, my brother, that you got to go back to. Y'all got to remember everything. That's the foundation.
The contractor or application being the matrix of all the documents, so to speak.
No, the agreement would be the matrix. The contract is simple.
Okay.
I did an application. I applied. Okay, not applied for something. I applied my law to something. A preamble is a preamble to the Constitution. So the preamble established the contract to any agreement that was formed under it. So that's not the matrix gets when you pay attention to the agreement and the promises and the rules under, and they always tell you these rules under the Constitution. They're always talking under the Constitution, while y'all not understanding that what's over it then. Like people say, under Rule 17. Okay, well, what's the preamble to Rule 17? You got to read the preamble, then you'll know what's under it. Don't matter. They want to get lost wherever it's dark and dungy in the rules, underneath something, because what? They're rats. They always have to be under the Constitution. What about above it? Nobody talks about above it. Okay? So you got to get everything. You got to start from the bottom, and you got to say, well, I'm enforcing the contract. And they'll shut up because they know who controls the contract, which is the money, controls the law. I control the agreement. I can break promises. I can break agreements. If it's not legally enforceable, I can say, I'm enforcing the contract, damn your agreement. We done here. Right? The driver's license. What's the contract? Well, the application. But then what's the extension of the contract? Well, the license that you issued. Because how can they issue you a driver's license and you just told me they were limited in their jurisdiction? They're in a county. Well, then how are they going to issue you a driver's license to go in the next state? You're taking them in the next state. You're issuing them the license. What do they say a license is, all the patriots say? A license permission to do something which would otherwise be illegal. So I said, did it take y'all 50 years to figure that out? Right. That means if you didn't issue them the damn license, it would be illegal. How long did it take to figure that out? You can't do anything illegal because you can get in your car and travel all the hell you want. But they wouldn't be able to do it. But if they riding on you and they got the license and you carrying it, now they can say what? Well, when you go in the next state, hand that over to the state police over there, and we still get credit for it, right? Because you think they issued it to you. They can't issue you a bag of cookies. They're dogs in a cage. They want to get out by saying, now, if you take my leash and you take it all the way up to your house, and I can get food from your house, and I can get out the cage, right? They don't leave the cage, man. Georgia don't do business with Virginia unless you issued a interstate commercial document that you're carrying from Georgia to Virginia. Now you're connecting the two. Now you're letting them both make money. You understand? But you issued the document. So back to the debt collector. All right, while we're on that. A debt collector is any person who use any instrumentality of interstate commerce. A driver's license is interstate commerce. A note is interstate commerce, right? So it says any person who uses any instrumentality of interstate commerce. So L, that traffic light, right, is an instrumentality of interstate commerce. That highway, that electricity, that gas station, those lights. I'm dealing with immigrant companies. I'm dealing with people that's not supposed to be here other than what? Americans, creditors, creators, principals, right? Everybody else is workers, right? Everybody else is trying to get a service, trying to get a piece of me. So if you use any instrumentality, okay, gas, you got a car, you got a tag, those are benefits of your creation from your country. If they're using it, you belong to me. Simple, right? Any instrumentality in interstate commerce or the mails in any business, the principal purpose. Now, I read to you the declaration, and it said purpose, right? What's the principal purpose? If you're dealing with me, the principal is me. That's the primary person. That's the main person. That's the most important person. The principal purpose is that means you're dealing with me. I'm the principal focus of your attention because I got the wealth. I'm the one that can take you out the dog cage and let you run around the block or go around the state or go up to New York or send my note over there or send me a ticket or a bill from down there. Why? You connected them to interstate commerce. Other than that, they stay in their 4-block radius. You understand? So, principal purpose of which is the collection of any debts. If you touch anything as a employee or as a immigrant or as a worker, you're being employed. You got to get permission. You understand? But if you go beyond that and you use any instrumentality or you collect any debts, right? That means you get $20 from a crackhead, right? That money is interstate commerce. So what does that make you? A debt collector. You can't do that, bro. You have to have what? Permission. And you have to have what? A license. So what license do a bank have? The one you gave to them on the application. That's how they can follow you, and the bank is in New York, and they can send you a bill down in Virginia. If you wouldn't have never did business with that bank, they'd never contact you in Virginia. So who gave them the long-distance call from Virginia to New York? You did. So who created the interstate commerce? You did. Otherwise, they'd be in New York, right? Maybe looking for somebody else. So I'm trying to explain to you how you all create natural person, and you create the ability for them to extend their geographical footprint to be able to reach out to you everywhere because you license them with an application. You're the only one that can issue a license. You're the only one that can issue a license. Nobody else has permission. The FBI don't have a license. Donald Trump just said today he was going to, because of the media, he was going to take NBC's license. NBC does media, right? It's a violation of the Federal Communication Commission, right? He's saying, I'm going to snatch your license. Now, who keeps the media in business? Well, people who buy ads. Well, who watch TV? Us. So why does the media exist? Because of us. So what license is he going to take? Well, we have to license the president, right? Because you don't have no money. I mean, who y'all think is creating the money? Well, we create all the money. That's why the New Deal was turned over in 1977. You create all the money. They just lying to you. They putting all the legal drunk stuff in there, but you creating all the money. They're not creating money. You create debt. That debt is an asset for you. It's a liability for them. But it's all about whether you know it's a liability. And you know that it's an asset for you. Because that's why Jesus rode the donkey, right? Right? The donkey meant wealth. That's when you rode a donkey. Back then, you rode a donkey. I was like riding a Rolls Royce, man. Because a donkey has what? An ass. And what does he do? He sat down and he creates an asset. The donkey, or the nod, if you want to turn it around, the don has power. Because the don is able to create, when you look in the title of a don, the title came from Spain, but it was given to noblemen and gentlemen. You hear the Congress talking, they made the gentleman from New York can speak. That's a don. And you turn that word around, that's a nod. A nod is a node. A knot is a knot. A knot is K-N-O-T. That's commerce. That's a boat traveling. A don has power. That's a ruler, a judge, or a lord. That's why they say you act a donkey. Okay? A donkey sits, right? And you'll see riding, Jesus riding, you see the sun in the background, right? Sun set, sunrise. When that donkey sat down, when you sit your ass down at that table, you sitting your ass down, right? And you sitting down there in E.T., right? Extraordinary form. You creating an asset. You the donkey. Sit your ass down at the table and go on and write something out. Go on and put your print on something. Go ahead and engrave something. You're creating money, brother. Okay? One of my consummarians said, yeah, the donkey is the key to the gatekeeper to wealth. That donkey, y'all sleep on the donkey. It means to put on, to invest with. What they say in Article 3. Right? They don't say invest. They say Article 3, vested. Vested. You vested. Okay? And then once you create that asset, they become invested. So if I created an asset because I'm vested, so L, and then they take that instrument and they invest in it, are they not indebted to me? Okay? Once you in my jurisdiction, I own you. Once I touch something and do business with you, The one drop rule is for me. I own you. Vested means secured in the possession or of assigned to a person. Assignments, transfers, right? That means something that's supplied or worn with a vest. A vest is an armor, right? Bulletproof vest. I'm bulletproof, right? I can create money, dude. Right? So it's important to know that you don't get invested until you got to be vested. Well, you got to create something and be vested before you can invest in it. So if you write me a ticket on my license, right, that I issued, I'm vested in the license. I have first priority position on that license because I created it, and that license, SOL, is a natural person because I produced it. That's why they say to you, produce your license. That's natural. That's nature. Produce it. They tell you to produce it. Why? Because that's the vested part, so they can invest in it by writing your ticket. Right? Now, who's in commerce? No, I created the commerce. I got the asset. I don't need to use it at all. I can leave it at the crib. Right? You want me to go, you got to carry that all the time. I got to carry shit. You understand? The only thing I got to carry is meat or a bazooka to make sure you don't rob me. You understand? So I said vested means possession. So I go back to say what? Possession of the United States? Well, who's the United States then? Who do y'all think? If the state of California is not the United States because they say they're the state of California, then who's the United States? People don't even know who the United States is. If I'm creating money, who's the United States? If there are obligations of the United States, then who created the obligation? And who's supposed to pay it? So who's the United States? So how are you going to sue me and don't think I'm the United States? Right? So your debt collector could be a variety of people who are collecting debts. It could be the county recorder. It could be the police department. It could be the sheriff's department. It could be the bank. Because they're collecting all kinds of debts. They're holding it. Right? Because that's what they do. They're holding it. They don't own it. They can't make loans from it. Did you sell it to them? That's what most people don't know. You sell debts. Credit sale. You sell it to them. They say, we're going to buy that from people. We'll give you the money later. All right? So they go out and flip it. What you call that in the street? Consignment. I'm going to give you this brick. All right? You bring me the money back. Be like, all right, you don't come back with my money, though. Right? You selling things on credit because that's all there is credit and debt. But there's money because when I create something, I get the produce. I'm the farmer. You're the buyer. If I send you a basket of fruit and you say I'll pay you next week, you better pay it next week. So that's what they're doing with the ticket. They're writing the ticket on your account, a payday loan, right? And they're saying, come to court, get your money back. And you go to court, start arguing with them. So they're saying, you got my money? Because first of all, I didn't want to give you that loan. You kind of forced it. Give me your license. You got your license on you. My license. Your license. They didn't say my. They know how to talk. A police officer know what he asked for. Do you have my license on you? So, you ever been to ask somebody the money? Do you have your money on you? You know, you say, you got my money, man? My money. They know how to talk. So they're asking you for your license. It's your license. And as simple as that. I break down the phonetics and etymology of the words in a way that nobody else do because I understand the science behind it because I know who I am. You understand? Yeah. I break down the phonetics of the word because a lot of times they talk and you think you can comprehend what they're saying, but the phonetics of the terms and the words sound the same. Like I can say lie, and you don't know if I'm saying L-Y-E or L-I-E or L-I or L-E-Y, which all means something different. Let's look at lie. Let's look at license. Cents, C-E-N-S-E. Okay, I'm just breaking down L-I and cents. Cents is a public rate or tax. Or, for my military people, it's a condition or a rank, condition of the mind. Right? So automatically, cents is a public rate or tax. Well, if you're not the goddamn public, how can you give me a license? We took care of that, right? It's a public rate or tax. A rate. Right? So, let's go with the lie, because that's really the biggest problem. If you go lie, you can go L-I-E, right, which is alkaline salt, right? Or it's distinguishing between a lie and a falsehood, right? Or you can go L-I, which is going to take you to a whole nother word, which is Li, okay, can take you to a Liz, or what they call a Liz pendens. Right? So Li, if you want to get into the atomic numbers, it's a metal. It's a form of metallic element. See, we create commodities and metals, precious metals. People don't understand where precious metals come from. They come from the mind. Because if you take metal and you put the N in it, that's mental. Mental is fundamental. Foundation for your show means fund. That means you're funding something and building it from the ground up. With what? With mental. That's why it creates metals, precious metals, notes, instruments, signatures, whatever. That's metals. That's mental. But the lie takes you to the Liz. And the Liz is what they call a Liz pendants. Okay? Which is what you put as a claim on a house, or it's sort of like a lien. So I got a lie lien on the cents, which is the public rate of the tax. It's how I govern police. When I see them out there doing something wrong, I'll be like, you got your ID, let me see that. You use your driver's license number. What's your name? Everything has been turned around, bro. What's your name? All right, I'm going to send this down to the DMV. That's my license number, my badge number over there, my license number. I seen you over there eating donuts and knocking somebody in the head, and I'm going to go on and write this report, and I'm going to send that in. I license you to be able to go from out the block over there. I didn't tell you to go out there and harass somebody. We didn't license you to do that. We created the license for a service. If I need to go to the hospital, if I need to go to the doctor, that's why you always see police. They go, what? They behind the ambulance. They doing something, right? They going to the hospital. They going to the jail. Well, what are you doing mixed with the hospital and the jail? They don't go together. You seen the recent event with the nurse that got beat up by the police officer, right? You ain't gonna see them at the jail no more. You ain't gonna see them at the hospital no more. Obamacare took care of that. They ain't gonna be at you'll see DHS or somebody there. You understand? The police thing has gotten too far. Not all police, but I don't break it down. I just say it's a problem because when you get into the jurisdiction, they're not supposed to be near you. That's why the Bible says, "Thou shalt not covet thy neighbors." They are neighbors. Neighbor means city. Covet means they ain't supposed to be looking, eyeballing your car, eyeballing your house, talking about, let me get some of that. You understand? That's coveting thy neighbor. We are supposed to live somewhere that's secure. That's why Donald Trump said, I'm going to build a wall. Build a wall just means I'm going to build a law. I'm going to get all the immigrants out. Okay? And I'm going to build a wall to make sure y'all don't come in here and be harassing these consumers, these Americans. And that's what he's doing. He's doing a great job at that. So I don't want to talk too long. Tell me where else you want to go.
Man, I liked how you flipped the license. I really did. And how you illustrate how everything is backwards. But I really like how you described how they are foreign, or the District of Columbia, and how the District of Columbia extends all the way out into basically almost into our homes through all these corporations, service corporations, courts, and the like. And, man, could you go back just a little bit before we go a little further and maybe just talk a couple more minutes about your concept and how you'll view and articulate the concept of how they are foreign to us or we are foreign to them? You know what I mean?
Well,
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. There's no better illustration than what you have going on today, which is Obamacare knocked the medical. All these attorneys were obstetric attorneys. They were physicians. So what they were doing, they were committing health care law based on the fact that they were treating you like you were a minor. But you're not a minor. A minor is an immigrant. A minor is somebody that don't have an age. I'll give you an example. They had a shooting in Las Vegas, and they said the shooter, he didn't have no record. He had no record. Right? See, I know what records are. They said he had no record. Most people will listen to that and be like, oh, he was clean. No, that don't mean anything. If you're in this country and you don't have any legal bona fide connection to this country, you don't have a record. That's why they chasing them down. Not having a record. You ever seen somebody get stopped by the police and they be like, what's your name? And they put in the system and be like, look, man, I don't find no record of that. Right? Why they look at you funny? Because you an immigrant. So when they say they don't find no record, why do you think a police officer shoots somebody in the head and they'll send them to another police department? He ain't got no record. He ain't in the country properly. There was a judge down in Texas, you can look up the article today, a so-called judge, had been there, I think, maybe 10 years. Been locking people up, like many of us out here. Locking people, not us, not me. Locking people up, been sitting on the bench, and they did a background check on her and realized she wasn't even a citizen. She didn't even have her green card. She was completely an undocumented worker with no ties to the United States. Do you understand me? You can pull up the article today. Do you understand? She been on the bench locking people up. Oriental lady, too. It don't matter what color. Y'all know the military bring in all kind of undocumented people. Black, green, white, purple. It don't matter. Because they come in through the military. You coming through the military, is, they be like, yo, you come over here, knocking people out, shoot up some people, we might get you, some citizenship. But you see they sending them all back, right? So she had been on the bench locking people up. She didn't have no right to be in the United States at all. So they rushed and they hurried up and went and got her, permanent legal residence card. They did it in like 3 months. Why? Because you're coming through the District of Columbia, you working with the doctors, the physicians, they're pseudo-doctors. So you're in a clinic. You understand? You're dealing with clinicians. And they don't say that, but that's what an attorney is. It's a clinician. It's a clinic. Right? So they come in there and be like, well, this child don't know what he's doing. We need to take some of this money from him. He don't know how to handle his money. We need to go ahead and lock him up, take his estate, right? That's what they're doing. So that's why Obamacare killed that. And now you see them running. Because why? If they can't make that connection to that birth certificate and that umbilical cord, they can't mess with you at all because they was riding under health care. You understand? That's all they was riding under, health care. Well, health is wealth. When you read the preamble, health means you can't separate the two. If you don't have any money, you can't, right, have good health. You take care of yourself, but they're mutually exclusive. I got to help. The Constitution talks about wealth and prosperity. That's money and health put together. But they took the welfare and put it in Article 1, Section 8, and you was creating the credit giving them welfare. Who's them? Those fake judges, attorneys, all of them, y'all think that they belong here. They can belong here if you create them and you bring them into your life not knowing who you are. Now they can hide underneath your sovereignty, right, your birthright, and they're going to ride you just like they say they are, like a member. Well, a member is a limb. A limb is something that stick to you. They ain't going to let you go until you know who you are and you can get them off you. And who gets them off them now? ICE, Immigration, Customs, Enforcement, chasing them down. Attorneys, judges, police, sheriff, I don't give a damn who you are. ICE coming to get you because they got so many of them here. So many. Rahm Emanuel, bro. You know Rahm Emanuel, right? Go pull up his video and listen to his 3 minutes. He said, I walked over here. We've been here 140 years. We're like Americans. We should be allowed to stay here. This is Rahm Emanuel. Right?
Wasn't he?
And a lot of other governors.
He was in Obama's administration, wasn't he? The first administration?
Yes. You can be a president and be an immigrant. Donald Trump is an immigrant. But they came and they got the paperwork properly. You got more people here. Y'all be calling judges and police. They tell you they train in Israel. Well, what's over Israel? These people don't have no documentation. That's why when they was talking about immigration, they said, well, if you lock up an immigrant, you gotta let them go. Why do you think they don't lock up police officers? If you don't have any immigration or you don't have any permanent legal residence here, and you're not a U.S. citizen, because that's a higher level that you have to attain, then what does it mean to hold you? Why do you think they put black people in jail? That's the orange. That's the seed. You know they can squeeze some juice out of that. That's the OJ, right? So what you gonna put? What you gonna put an immigrant in there? They don't have what? They don't have social. What they got? So they got a EIN number. That's free. Ain't no money in that. Ain't nobody commit no identity theft and steal Walmart's goddamn EIN number or any one of y'all damn EIN number. Why? That thing ain't got no money on that. We got some money on it, that social estate that you have. That's why they always want it. So if a police officer shoots somebody, what you going to do, put him in jail? You ain't going to get nothing out of him. You ain't get nothing. What, he got an EIN. That's free. Can I get one of those? Yeah. You got that. 5 minutes. You done. What does that mean? You understand? So people got to comprehend you're valuing that these immigrants come and they target you because they know you got money. That's why they look in the computer. Let me get your ID. Why? I want to know if I got me a damn visa here. Because how did they come here, on a damn visa? Do you know it ain't no different than a Visa card and the visa they come over? Because if I create credit, I create an opportunity for them to come and work. I grant credit to an immigrant. And then I got to get what? Immigrant, customs, and enforcement, right, to get them out of here when the money ain't there. When the jobs ain't there, they got to go. Donald Trump said, I'm going to bring Americans back in the job. It's too many. It's 10 billion of them. Police, you name it. Congressmen, they got them quitting, talking about, we found out DHS is not playing. We found out you don't have no citizenship. There was a CNN story. Y'all could probably look it up. It was a man that was 60 years old. Nice man. Was in the military, retired out the military, put 2 kids through college. Good guy. He was from Dominican Republic or somewhere. Hadn't traveled outside the country. Had a driver's license, though. Why? Anybody can get a goddamn driver's license. Y'all know that. That's not government ID. Because the District of Columbia is not a goddamn government. Y'all look at your applications, it'll say driver's license or government ID. Did y'all miss the or? Okay, so the man had been here, and he went to go get his passport. He wanted to go travel back to his country after being gone so long. So he went to DHS, and he went and applied, and they came back. They said, hey, yo, bro, yeah, man, we're not going to be able to grant you that passport. On top of that, we're going to have to deport you because you're not legally in the country. This man's 60 years old. He on CNN crying with his attorney. The attorney knows what's going on because she's a damn immigrant. But anyway, he crying. He's like, I don't understand this. I've been here. I pay taxes. I put 2 kids through college. I retired from the military. Y'all know when you're in the military, y'all out of the United States. Just like the District of Columbia. You understand? So where did you go when you went to the military? You went to the District of Columbia, goddamn. You lost your nationality, I guess. All right? So they deporting the man. He been in 60. The dude done retired, got a driver's license. That ain't working no more, bro. Rahm Emanuel's telling you that I've been here for 140 years. We know we walked over here, and all this time they've been talking about immigrants, black people, Mexicans, and everything. And now you see the ones that are in office is when you get into politics, that is immigrant jurisdiction. U.S. Immigrants. Legal residents. That's why attorneys say, I'm admitted to practice. Y'all know what that means? Admitted to practice. That means they say, I got permission to practice. That means I have some legal residency. Residency now. Not citizenship. You understand? Now you understand the difference. Okay? So that man got deported. Right? There was a police chief came through DHS. Right? He went over to Mexico, came back. They stopped him at the gate. He said, I'm a police sergeant in Mexico. They say, we don't give a shit who you are. You're going to wait there for 2 hours. We checking your ass out. DHS is not playing. They checked him out. He thought he was big time. They went, police ain't nothing over here. Do you understand? If you ain't in this country, right, you ain't coming in here. And they checked him out. After a while, they let him go back in. But I'm trying to explain to y'all, when you want to talk about jurisdiction, this is what you have to talk about now. That we're saying, well, who is real? Who belongs here? Who's sucking up all the money and the benefits? Who are all these jobs going to? They've just been bringing thousands of them over because we've been asleep, giving them driver's license, giving them the Social Security number, arguing about stupid stuff like rules and jurisdiction. What do you mean jurisdiction? You come in this country, you bow down to the heirs that are here. Are you a legal resident? Right. You still a worker. Are you a citizen? Yes, you still a worker. Those are created positions. So those are what? Naturally created. Why? Because there's so much credit here. This is the Milky Way galaxy because all y'all keep giving out the damn milk. And you be arguing with, talking about that's a judge. A judge, that dude is a crackhead. That dude is in jail. Y'all think I'm playing. They are in prison. Y'all know what an inmate is? Honey, why don't y'all go look for what an inmate is? Okay? I try to give everybody a little bit of homework. Y'all don't know what an inmate is. But just say I got limited jurisdiction. I mean, oh, shit, you're an inmate. Right? And what can they do? They can go to work. Come on, Soel. You know, house arrest. Right? What you tell a police officer? You can't go past that county line. That's what? That's house arrest, dude. I can go past any line. So if you can't, then that means something, dude. I got to start thinking about it. You on house arrest. You on work release. Because what does immigrants do? They work. Right? Y'all see how y'all got all twisted up? Y'all see how sheriff's going away now? Y'all heard about a sheriff, anything lately with a sheriff? A U.S. Marshal?
No.
How about DEA?
No.
Huh? You don't see them going away? Oh, you ain't paying attention? That's jurisdiction. Jurisdiction is DHS is like if you ain't got no identity, y'all be talking, y'all be going to court. First thing you have identification. I need to prove that you legally in the country before I even talk to you. Okay, you handling my instrument, my license, my documents, my securities, my bonds, my identification. I need to know that you're in this country, correct? I bet you that'll change all that other nonsense y'all be talking about. Okay? Because nobody from America is going to do that to you. You understand? They're going to do it to you because they feel they can just, what's the worst going to happen? They're going to kick them out. Well, they don't belong here anyway. They're not here legally. So what's going to happen? They're going to come back in. That's why Donald Trump said, I ain't going to let them come back in. Y'all dealing with, when y'all wake up, right, by the end of the year, y'all going to be like, damn. Sharif told us, y'all was just dealing with immigrants, man. Y'all was dealing with people that wasn't even here correctly. When the mayor tell you, you should treat me like an American because I've been here, we've been here 140 years. And y'all been worshiping these people. We've been looking at them people like they government, and they ain't nowhere near government. Government of what? The District of Columbia? The District of Columbia means the doctors of chiropractic. What does chiropractic deal with? The bone, the back. What does back mean? Support. What can you get from a bone? Soup, flesh, blood, money. Money is blood. You understand? That's where money comes from. That's why they say arising out of. What do you think they're talking about? This transaction arising out. Let me read it for you. So you really know science. But that means any obligation or alleged obligation of a consumer to pay money arising out of a transaction in which the money, property, insurance, or services are the subject of the transaction. Subject means to throw down under. What do police say? Get on the ground. Right? They're doing subject matter jurisdiction. What are you supposed to tell them? Hit your knees. Hit your knees. It's subject matter. So arising out of means that came out of you. That's volcano. That's thoughts. That's ideas. That arise out of my mind. My Hebrew is my mind. My mind, my Hebrew creates what? Brew. Draft beer. What's beer? Bear. What's bear? Instruments. What's the right to bear arms? And they got nothing to do with a damn gun. It's the right to keep and bear arms. That means what I create as money, I keep it. And if I need to, I'll pop a cap in somebody because you got to have a militia to be secured because you got money. That's why y'all getting robbed. You understand? That's what we gotta comprehend that, man. The Constitution is for them. Come on, y'all been letting these people argue with you about a Constitution that ain't even in country league. A Constitution is a contract. They ain't even supposed to talk about it. Why? They don't have jurisdiction. You shut up and you do what you're told if you are afforded an opportunity for you to come in this port and work your way up into becoming a permanent legal resident and then maybe a citizen. But you still don't get the benefits as heirs, the people that were born here in this country. You don't get those same benefits. Y'all know who handles Social Security numbers for immigrants now? The Department of Homeland Security. Y'all think this is a joke. This is not they never had. They had TIN numbers. You want to get a social, you got to go through the Department of Homeland Security. So y'all think those birth certificates ain't worth no money? Y'all be talking about throwing away and doing all this crazy stuff too? Man, one of these jokers will cut your neck off for a footprint on a birth certificate, right? Because there's no more better standing than that. They don't get passports either so well. All they got is driver's license. So why do you think they getting rid of driver's license? Y'all ain't going to have driver's license at the end of the year. You got to get a real ID act, real ID compliant driver's license. You know what that go through? The Department of Homeland Security. Right? Which is going to check what? To see whether you was born here and whether you got a record of being here. So not having a record, if somebody walks across the line and walks across the border, do you think Rami Emanuel going to have a record from his other country? No, he's going to walk over and say, well, my name is Bushwhack Ben. Oh, okay, well, we don't have no record of you because we don't know what you did in Europe. We don't know what you did over there. So you come over here with no record. No record found. We don't know who you are. Right? Y'all be surprised how many people y'all discover like that, how many fake judges, bankers, all of them. Attorneys, you do not have to be a U.S. citizen to be an attorney. Do you understand me? That means y'all talking to undocumented workers. That's why they use LLCs, PSCs, and all that kind of crap. You talking to a ghost. Who the hell is that? I need to know your identity. You got mine. I need yours. Show me something. If you don't have something, I'm about to turn into ice or I'm about to get ice. I don't talk to undocumented workers. I don't talk to legal residents. Legal residents are here to study. They're here to study and learn our culture and be naturalized in our culture. That is the agreed upon culture. That's the agreement. Agree means agriculture. Agriculture has to do with acres and meat. That's land. We got land. You have a dream. That means you want to be here. But come and work, man, and do an honest day's work. So go ahead, brother. Where else you want to go?
I mean, I think you shut it down. We got about. We're gonna start streaming in about 3 minutes. I was wondering if you'd be interested in taking any phone calls or anything like that. Man, I love how you describe the foreign aspects of the District of Columbia and everything that derives its existence from that district. And how, man, I'm gonna be rewinding this show and listening to this. I'm telling you that. I really like this.
Anytime they touch that money, if they got Federal Reserve notes in their pocket, you own them. That's private script. So y'all think private script, what do y'all think is private? If you're creating the instrumentalities, that's what controls the script. That's a private script because it belongs to me. That's my goddamn money. That's why it said annuit cooptates. That's an annuity. Look up an annuity, it tells you that's something that the government pays back who? They heirs every year. But y'all going to pay taxes. How y'all paying taxes and you created the damn money? Why y'all think why y'all think Puerto Rico underwater right now? Why y'all think Trump had to go and flood it? They was $80 billion in debt. That was all these attorneys, all the drugstores trying to pull all that debt in Puerto Rico. He said, I'm going to send the storm, flood it out. Now what? We don't owe y'all shit. I'm going to build it up brand new. Trump ain't no joke. You use nature. Well, if you use nature to send a storm, what kind of natural disaster can you create when you know who you are? Trump flood them out. You see him repo Texas? He repoed Texas. He held the flag up. It was like they owed money. I took them. DHS owned Texas. It's Florida. He ain't about to do California. So go ahead, brother. Y'all just got to understand what's going on. They owe money. Okay? They're in debt to us. Trump's like, I'm gonna get that money. You ain't got that money? All right, I'm going to send the water through and do what? Flood your ass out. Now they don't have insurance. They can't rebuild anything. You stealing houses? I'm gonna flood you out. I'm gonna flood them houses you stole, and we just gonna build new ones for these heirs, and you're not gonna be here because they don't have flood insurance. They don't. They're not citizens. So how they gonna have insurance? They don't even have. They barely got a driver's license. So that's the science, brother. Go ahead. You want to take some questions? We can.
I mean, I'm down to open the phone lines up. We're about to go to stream in about 20 seconds. If you have any questions for, Brother Sharif or any of the information he's saying, just press 1 on your keypad. We got some callers in the queue, so we can go ahead with that. And I just, I'm blown away, brother. You've definitely been studying since the last time we spoke. And, I'm definitely blown away about, I appreciate you coming on. Yeah, we got a caller in the queue. We got a caller. I'm going to bring him in. Cool?
That's cool. Let me say one thing before you bring in, because I didn't get a chance to talk about the FCRA, and I can do it in a few minutes. All the other consumer protection laws is brought together in the FDCPA. So from the FDCPA, you can reach over, which is what they call long-arm jurisdiction. You can reach over into the FCRA because it has FCRA language. You can reach over into the Truth in Lending because it has references to Truth in Lending. You could go to FDCPA. You can go a few directions because the FDCPA is like the catch-all. That's the big daddy. So it'll touch all of that. Okay?
Yeah, I like that. It has, from my, limited study of the FDCPA, the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, it's got a lot of power. It definitely has a lot of power.
It's the most powerful thing. It's the most powerful thing on the planet. That's why I teach it. There is nothing higher than what I teach. Nothing. That's why people don't get it. Nothing higher than what I teach. This is a codification of the Constitution. This is the Bible, is what we call it in our empire. That's the Bible. There's nothing. Bring your IRS laws, bring your trust, bring all that stuff. I'll spank it bad with these 22 pages right here. I'll kill it. I'll destroy it. Bring the best. I do it all the time. There's nothing higher. So when you comprehend that, and there's a science to it, if you study it, you'll forget about the rest of that stuff, I promise you. Because what you going to do with them forms now, the IRS, they flooded out in Puerto Rico. DHS said they don't have no power grid. So what do you think they did that for? Okay, so who's going to be sending them taxes and whatnot? Because I was over there in Puerto Rico, a territory of the United States. It was something we acquired, right? So it was kind of over there. They were sending tax bills from that side of the water to the other side of the water because we live offshore. So, we don't live in the commercial district, in the district. We live offshore. We're an offshore tax haven. You don't pay no damn taxes. So how are they going to send a bill from over that side of the water, from a territory called the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, and send a bill over here in the other side of the water? Do you know how many times I tell them, kiss my ass, and travel over there, be like, bring your ass from over there on that little island over there and come over here and get it to this island, to this foreign state, to this sovereign state, and see what happened. That's what y'all supposed to tell them. You're supposed to be filling out no damn forms over there. They're supposed to be paying you. So go ahead with your question.
That's amazing, man. Look, so we're gonna take this caller. We got a caller, several callers. Looks like. First one, 347-4554. Once again, 347-4554. Peace. What's your name? Where you calling from?
I'm calling from North Carolina. This is Brother Moses. My question is pertaining to child support and how this process for the application works. So my question is, the acknowledgement of the parentage form or the paternity acknowledgement form, is that the application to that whole process?
That's a good question. I get a lot of that about child support, but I'm going to ask y'all one question. And then I'm going to take you to the law. And I'm going to answer your question real good. And you ain't never going to forget the answer, right? One is that who's a child, right? A child is something that's created, right? Naturally, right? So that means it's a natural person. That means you produce it. So wouldn't it be a consumer? That's one answer. That's a big answer, right? Because I produced it. So I'm going to give you the other answer. A debt means any obligation or alleged obligation of consumer to pay money arising out of a transaction in which the money, property, insurance, or services without the subject of the transaction are for personal, family, or household purposes, whether or not such obligation has been reduced to judgment. Is you and your child or your seed personal, family, and household? Right.
Yes, sir.
So who's allowed to get in your personal business? Personal, family, household. Now, what people don't understand with household, you just think a house, but house means economy. So house means anything you doing to make money. See, people think, oh, you in commerce because you out in commerce. I create goddamn commerce. It's an extension. If I'm making money, that's not taxable. That's household. So then I'm gonna answer you about the child and the parent. Blood, I can show you something in the federal rules right now and be like, blood, I want to go get a blood test. This is what I'm going to do with the blood test. You want me to go get a blood test? I'll tell you what I do. You going to walk your ass down there and get a blood test with me because me and you ain't related, you going to have some problems. Do you understand? You ain't got nothing to do. So they telling you to get a blood test, and I'm telling you, you got blood money because money arises out of you. Value arises out of you, so that means what? They want to get a blood test. Are you a doctor? So you're in the District of Columbia. Are you a doctor? So what they telling me to get a goddamn blood test? I can tell you right now that that's a natural person I created. That's my blood. That signature is my blood. Y'all better get into the damn science. That signature is blood. What do you think? That's sperm. Huh? I ejaculated all on that paper. You see my signature, you see my name, that's sperm. You want to touch that? That's blood. Well, let me answer your parent question. Right? 1692 CD. For purpose of this section, the term consumer includes a consumer's spouse, a parent, if the consumer is a minor, a guardian, an executor, or an administrator. Now, which one are you?
I'm the
parent?
Nope.
You're not the parent? How are you not the parent and you created? If you write a note, bro, you the parent.
Right, gotcha.
That's why they supposed to pay rent to you. You created something natural. You the parent. I'm the mother and the father. You understand? I'm the mother and the father. So you created that, right? So you adopted. Y'all can take an immigrant today, and y'all can probably do this today because y'all don't know what slavery is. They keep talking about slavery as black. No, slavery is what you see now. They got so many immigrants, they need somebody like you to say, yo, you can stay here. You work for me. You do a good job. I got you. I got 10 of y'all. And you can be like, yo, they with me. So L. DHS back off. I got them. I'm assigned for them. Right? That's what you want to call slavery, if that's what you want to call it. And it's black, white, green, and purple because they're all here, and they're scared. They got to go because they're not extending any of our credit to these folks because they done got comfortable. You got dudes that ain't got no ID riding on yachts, Bentleys, got buildings, using credit that don't belong to them. So my question to you is, who the hell do y'all know y'all supposed to be getting paid child support? If you create something natural, isn't that your child? Ain't that your baby?
Yes, it is.
Huh? When you buy that car, ain't that your baby? Oh, that's my girl, that's my boo. That's my baby. What you create belongs to you. So it has the same protections of you because it's a consumer, which means what? It was consumed out of you. It arises out of you. It's blood. Y'all better get into the blood because everything you do is physical. Right?
Okay.
The 4 states of matter is not jurisdiction when they talk about state jurisdiction. The 4 states of matter is liquid, solid, plasma, and gas. What is that? Planets. What that come out of? You. So what is jurisdiction of the 4 states of matter is jurisdiction? That subject matter. What's the subject? The subject is that's my shit. Okay?
Right.
That subject matter. That matter came out of me. Black Lives Matter just got sued recently. Y'all need to go look it up and read the order. The judge came out. They sued the Black Lives Matter, our little redneck Louisiana police said he got hurt. And he wanted to sue Black Lives Matter because they just hate black people. Why they hate black people? Because they're immigrants, right? So they sued them, right? Black Lives Matter, and the judge threw it out and said, you can't sue Black Lives Matter because they are a movement. You understand? He threw the lawsuit out and said they are a movement. See, this is what they play with you in court. They be trying to do movements, motion to move over here. You can't move nowhere.
Right.
You an immigrant. You stay your ass right there till I finish with you. A movement means a motion. So now you know when they playing with you, they doing movements. Movements is by journeymen. They want to journey over here because that's what immigrants do. They journey. They keep journals. You understand? So a movement is a motion. So that means you can sue every attorney because they filed a motion? Because the judge said I can't sue. They can't sue Black Lives Matter because it's a movement. A movement is a manner of moving. It's a progression. They're telling you it's a change in the environment. You can't touch them. So if they can't touch a movement, how can they touch you from moving in your car or moving to your house or moving anywhere you want? They just told you they've been bullshitting you. A movement is me making love to my woman and she have a baby. That baby ain't got a damn thing to do with you. You are immigrant. You trying to steal money.
Facts.
So that answers your question. I pointed out parent to you, right? And I pointed out minor, right? Right?
Yes, sir.
So why y'all having a problem with them damn bums? I took care of them bums. I mean, really, if y'all want to seriously make something, I got some ambassadors be tearing their asses up. Do you understand? Child support is about the man. Listen, man. You understand? All of them courts are foreign. There is no jurisdiction for you. You know, they kind of said that in the Dred Scott, like, and people didn't get it. Like, there ain't no jurisdiction for the immigrants, but there is in Guantanamo Bay or somewhere in another cage. You understand? There is no jurisdiction for it. And I'm talking, and I don't like to say that, but there's only a few crimes that you can commit in the Constitution, and they still got to bring you in a proper, competent judicial court. Do y'all know what that is? It ain't none of the ones you've seen.
Article
you understand? 3? Well, what's Article 3? I'm Article 3. Go pull up your consumer. Y'all think the Supreme Court is not a Supreme Court. Y'all got to come over to my show. You understand? Supreme Court don't have no jurisdiction. If you read Article 3, there's nothing in there that talks about the Supreme Court. It talks about vested in one Supreme Court. One means single. Single is you. How you going to have 20 courts to talk about it's a Supreme Court? They're not a Supreme Court. They're in a building that is housed with the Supreme Court, just like you can do two different jurisdictions in the United States District Court. There's a miscellaneous side and there's a civil side. Who gets civil rights? Immigrants. I ain't never had no civil rights. Right. My laws ain't civil. I have the procedure in this law. This is the procedure, this is substantive, and this is procedural law here. So civil is for what? Slaves. So why y'all keep talking about black people as slaves? These people have to have civil rights. You can't be abusing the immigrants, but they've been abusing the shit out of you. The laws were designed for you not to beat them up, and they done took it and beat the hell out of you. Done took all your money, took your mother's money, done took their estate, right? Don't you think you need to change a little bit now? Okay. Y'all better look into ICE and DHS. They have all jurisdiction. Your police going away, your sheriff's going away, and all that nonsense going away. Trust me.
So
okay? I'll have law enforcement? Yes, we'll have law enforcement. It won't be police, though. It'll be something else.
So my secondary question to all of this is the immigrants, right, are trying, and my lack of knowledge, are trying to limit my freedom of movement, trying to revoke passports and such. How do I combat that?
That's not a quick answer. I mean, I gave you where you can go and study that. That's not a quick answer. You have to come to my show and listen a little bit more, or you have to get with us so I can talk to you on a more extensive level. I haven't had time to really get into it because most of my ambassadors, they deal with it pretty well. They be having those child support people running. I gave you the laws that you can study to use it. They have no business using anything of yours. You need to identify who they are. That is not the United States that's doing that to you.
That's correct.
Okay? They say United States District Court. Well, if they in the United States, you're supposed to know who you are. Well, who are you? Because you're not the United States. You're the District of Columbia? Well, I got this book right here to say I got jurisdiction over you. Now, what have you been trying to collect? Because you're going to pay me some child support before it's all said and done. I need to see some identification first, and then we need to talk about how the hell did you get in my natural life? You touch something that belongs to me, I'm charging you. I created that. Now, what do you have to do with it? There's two things they call you in child support, an obligee and an obligor.
Right.
So let me read this to you and tell me if it sounds familiar to you. The term debt means any obligation or alleged obligation. Don't they call you an obligor? Aren't you obligated to protect your family and make sure nobody touch your natural products and your production? Right? So are you an obligor? Y'all get involved in all the stupid stuff. Let's look at what they call you, obligor. One who binds himself or gives his bond to another. Who binded themselves once they touch you? Once they touch something that belongs to you? Who is bound? You bind them. You touching my stuff? Oh, as soon as you touch that, you touch blood. You got blood all over your hands. That's my blood. What did Jesus say? Drink my blood? Drink my blood, right? You spend my money, you drinking my blood. Correct? You touching my blood. Okay, then why don't y'all just tell them that? That's my blood. You touching my blood. And you know how much you owe me? How you going to tell me I owe you something I created? What are you creating? They trying to create a debt in your name, but you're the only one that create debt. So what are they doing? They're incurring a debt. To incur a debt means you wind up rolling up on somebody that know what they're talking about. That means you ran against somebody. That's what incur means. That's what the president do. He incurs a debt. That's why he needs donations. So they incurred the debt. Means you ran against me. Now you incurred a liability for touching something that belongs to me. I don't give a damn what you say. You touch me, my child, and everything else, I'm going to charge you for all three. Incur means to bring on. It means to meet, to press on. They pressing the case on you. They incurred a liability by even calling your name. My laws don't allow them to even talk. So where did they get the information from? The Internal Revenue Service. Your culprit is the Internal Revenue Service. The Department of Treasury. Who's sending those bills out? These people are immigrants that was hired to go take your money. I'm going to just keep it real with you. The Department of Treasury is an office in the Treasury. Every courtroom has an office in it. The office of a clerk is a separate office. A department is a separate office from the office itself. So department of something, department is really debt. Departing from the mind, the mint, or departing from your money. You don't split yourself up. They have branches of government. That's why they have department. DEPAR, accounts receivable, from the part, the mint, the mind. So I'm separating myself just in case you want to sue, then you'll just sue that office. I'll give you one example. Marilyn Mosby in Maryland, going after all those police officers, getting those cases thrown out. They sued her office, the office of the state prosecutor. They didn't sue the whole court. So know the offices. You're going to sue that office. My laws take care of all that. You just got to get into a study, my brother. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Appreciate you calling in, brother.
No problem.
You know what? I don't know, Brother Sharif. I don't know how much time they're gonna have us allow us to go over because we've been over for a minute. I see y'all callers in the queue, but we're just gonna wrap it up. So I definitely wanted to say thank you for coming on the show. Yeah, and then now they want to push. Look, I just want to say thank you for coming on the show, Brother Sharif. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
It's always a pleasure.
Yes, sir.
You got some real profound, deep understanding of this stuff from, on a metaphysical level, brother. I just, every time, and I'm impressed. And I'm a student in your presence, man. So thank you for coming on the show. I know the audience appreciate it. And why don't you tell everybody how they can get at you, where you're at, your emails and all that stuff.
Just go to Thor Radio. Yeah, go to Thor Radio Network and look for the House of Restoration Ministry right here on Blog Talk. And, if you want to get on our mailing list, you can hit admin, ADMIN, at thorlawgroup.com. We're on Tuesday. We're on Fridays. We do private class webinars where we're having a webinar every first Saturday of the month where we go into the particulars. But, just wanted to come over and help you lay your foundation. And you got to augment your foundation because things are changing. So, the forms and the IRS stuff, that ain't going to work no more, man. Donald Trump trying to, they being, they're being destroyed. They're already destroyed. So it's going to be a lot of new things going on, and the laws that I teach is definitely what's going to take you into the future. So you can listen to our archive. We've been there 3.5 years. I think we got almost 1,000 shows maybe, and broadcast, and visit with us anytime. So, I thank you. I thank you for reaching out because I know you're doing a lot of things, and I'm glad that you was humble enough to receive me, and I'm glad that I was humble enough to come and support you, and definitely to Yusef L., who's doing a great job. Again, salute. Cannot come in this house and not show respect. So we there, man, on Tuesday. I'll be in 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Tuesday and Fridays. Thursday, we have a metaphysician on there, Brother Francis, at 11. So, we just doing it, man. And we love our people, all people, but we want to Americanize this thing and keep the heirs here and get the immigrants gone so we can enjoy our wealth and get our stuff together, clean up our house. So peace, consummarianism, and we'll see you next time. Invite me anytime, my brother.
I appreciate you stopping by.
Yes,
there it is, y'all. That was Brother Sharif from we got Thor Radio Network. One of the most studied brothers I've ever encountered, in this walk. So you make sure you check them out, Thor Radio Network, the House of Restoration. I want to thank y'all for checking out the show. Thank y'all for being here with us. We'll be here next week, definitely. The foundation here on High Frequency Radio Network. And with that being said, study. We definitely have a responsibility to study. We have a responsibility to understand what we're doing and understand the things that are going on that we're taking part in, whether it be commerce or, relationships, negativity, positivity, these things. We got to know what we're doing. We got to take responsibility. So, I definitely appreciate the brother coming on and sharing the knowledge. Y'all definitely should check him out because, like I say, no matter what, since the first time you used your first dollar or quarter or 50 cents to purchase something, a piece of gum or, a quarter juice or whatever, had initiated and completed and executed a commercial transaction. And it's important for us to understand how this works, or it's important for us to understand our positions, and it's important for us to understand where we're transitioning to. And how can you know where you're going if you don't know where you're at? You got to get your bearings first. So once again, definitely want to thank Brother Sharif from Thor Radio for coming on. Quick last minute things, highfrequencyradionetwork.com. I love that site. Y'all know I do. Big brother Yusef L, as always, holding it down, putting it down over and over again. Welcome to thefoundation.com. Yo, it's up. Welcome to thefoundation.com. Welcome to thefoundation.com. It's up. It's live. I just looked at it, and then I closed it because I got hyped. But welcome to thefoundation.com. Sign up for the email list. Check out the PDF section. Things are still getting built, but, appreciate you checking it out. It's done. It's up there. It's running. Peace and love, y'all. I appreciate you. As always, take care of yourself. Enjoy yourself. One of my new friends told me something real cold. There is no tomorrow. There's only yesterday and today. Tomorrow never comes. Even if you wake up tomorrow, it's today. I don't want to get convoluted, but he said it iller. So I don't focus on tomorrow. That's why this resonated with me. I focus on what I can do today. And the only reason why I look at yesterday is to make sure that I'm doing better today than I was doing yesterday. So I want to leave y'all with that. Do with it what you want. I'm only offering it. It's all about offering acceptance. Appreciate you checking out the foundation. And with that, peace to you, peace to the God.
High Frequency Radio.